Job in Tech, episode 104. In this episode, you're going to hear from my friend Brandon. Now, interesting thing about Brandon is he once beat in poker the World Series champ of poker, Jerry Yang. So Jerry Yang was the World Series of Poker champion in 2007, and Brandon had the distinct honor of beating him in a game of poker. The other thing to know about Brandon is he very much resembles Siler on the TV show Heroes, or Spock on the TV show or the movie Spock. So the actor's name is Gabriel Ray. So kind of looks like him. So let's get on with the podcast.
I joined the military after my childhood or whatever, and that was 1819. I joined as a microwave systems operator maintainer. It's 31 Papa. We were just talking about that. You know that the field of working with microwave systems and satellite dishes, and I was trained. I was trained tactically, but interestingly enough, I was never stationed in a tactical environment. The military trained me tactically because they had divided it up into two different. How do I explain it? They took the job, right, and they divided it up into two segments: tactical and strategic. So I got trained tactically, and then my whole military career was about 7.5 years. I was always in a strategic position, which is either a tech control or a SATCOM, my whole career. And I was in 7.5 years. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, so you asked me to go way back now because I'm going to turn 37 here in about a week or so. But I mean, I joined 20 years ago, and then I got out. I got out after 7. So I mean, I got out when I was 26. So I mean, it's been 10 years. It's really been like 10 or 11 years since I even played with any of this stuff. But I mean, I guess I could still mess with it if I was put in that environment, because I mean, it's just troubleshooting circuits and looking at circuit diagrams and how signal flows. Basically, you take a diagram and the signal starts at one end, and at the other end is where the signal goes, and that could be all the way around the world. And if there's any issue in between there, that would be what my job entailed, would be working that issue. Now that's a signal that goes around the world, so it goes from one location. Let's say like we used to work there in California. Well, let's say we had a signal going out there. It would go overseas sometimes to a different location altogether. Let's say it went to Korea or something, because I was stationed in Korea, and we had to maintain the integrity, I guess would be the best way to put it. Maintain the integrity of the communication device. Just learning how to troubleshoot the signal flow from one device to another was what I specialized in, whether it be encryption device or terminating cable. Sometimes it would just be a faulty cable or something, and you'd have to use a new cable. Other times you have to reload an encryption device to encrypt the signal. But I mean, that would be about the scope of what I did. My career, my sordid career, it's really up and down throughout my life. Right now, it's going pretty good. I'm a business owner, but when you're a business owner, I own a bookstore, by the way. I have a bookstore. When you own a business, it's you think you could just sit back and relax, but it's not the case. Like, you actually have to work. You have to work twice as hard, I think, when you own a business. And I'm a solopreneur, meaning I don't hire a bunch of people, because ideally I would like to expand one day and hire a bunch of people, but they have other big bookstore chains, like what's the one, Brookstone or Second and Charles is a notable one, where they sell used books. I do just the same thing, but I'm independent of that. So I have an eBay where I have about 750 books online.
Wow.
I have my own webpage, which is linked to that, and I have a Facebook page, which is linked to the webpage. And I set those up, and that was I could do it, but it's one of those things where when you go to do a task like setting up a web page or something, I just grind it out and knock it all out. And I think I did it in like a week or so, not even a week. The name of my bookstore is SGTStarbooks, which is kind of a throwback to when I was in the military there, because I got out as an E5. And I sell any kind of used books, mostly antiquarian books, which is a fancy word for collectible book. So I look for the collectible books. It's kind of like the rare books. So you want like, like the Indiana Jones of books type of deal. I just hunt around for them. Like all that time, like you work on a circuit sometimes in a tech control or a SATCOM, like we worked at together, and you just spend looking at it and trying to decipher it and figure it out and using that kind of technical skill. I do the same thing, but I do it with books. I go to thrift stores now, and I go to estate sales, and I go through massive amounts of books. And I think it's kind of the same kind of seeking, kind of hunt mentality where in signal flow, like you're always looking for the issue. You're always looking to make sure the integrity of everything is just perfect. And it's the same kind of thing for my mind to keep me going, I think, is what makes me happy. I always say it's like the Indiana Jones of book sales. You're always hunting for that rare $10,000 book, or that rare autographed book from ancient times or something.
What's the oldest book you have, if you can remember right now?
I got a set over here. I'm in my store right now. I'll just walk over here and take a look. I know it's from the 1700s. It's called Characteristics of Men, Manners, Opinions, and Times in 3 volumes. And I never actually read it, but it is a let's see, taking a look right now. 1790? 1792 or something like this. Yeah, I think that's what it is. And it's in 3 volumes. Yes, so I kind of unplugged from the tech there, not more and more recently, but half of my store is online. So I'm still, if you don't, I think your podcast is geared towards people who are just learning, or they're not familiar with tech. Is that right?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, that's the market I like to serve. Typically it's individuals who don't know much about tech, but they want to get a job. And there's a lot of those individuals, more so than there's people who know about tech, who already have some of the knowledge and already know what to do. But, typically it's usually the individual, the avatar, if you will, I would say, about this podcast is someone who works at McDonald's or works at Walmart, and they make $9, $10, $12 an hour, and they don't have no idea what they want to do, but they know that they're interested in IT, in some sort of technical field. They're like, I want to do that, and maybe they're in debt, or maybe they haven't been good with financial. Maybe they don't see a way to get out of the financial situation they're in, and they just need an answer. So I just try to offer that answer to them. Military is another path, and the strategy I talk about when joining the military is to join the reserve. So what I have talked about in my podcast is join the reserve, get a skill set in a technical skill set, and do a long MOS or AIT, if you will, job, and then get out of that. After your AIT, you have a skill set, you have credibility because you've been in the military, and then go and get a job rather than wait 4-6 years or whatever to make $40K a year. Do it automatically, and then of course you do your 2 weeks a month and 1 week a year or whatever it is. And some people don't want to go to college, and some people just want to work, and it's nice to just talk to those folks and give them some sort of answers or just a path, like, here, try this method. You may or may not like it, but give it a try. Give it a month or 2 months, and that's what we do. So your website, your book website, right? What is your book website, by the way?
Oh, you want to go to SGTStarbooks.com. Same thing as the name of my store there. And it's SGTStarbooks, so not the full Sergeant, because there's 2 spellings of Sergeant. Sometimes people get those confused. But so you want to go SGTStarbooks is like Starbucks, but books. SGTStarbooks.com. And that should pull up my inventory there, which is linked to my eBay. And that's half my business. So I always say that's half my business because I run a physical store here in Richmond, Virginia, right? And that's the other half. So I mean, I do the customer service when people walk in, and then you do the remote sales by whoever orders either online through the web page or on my eBay, which yeah, I have a long eBay URL. Maybe I can give that to you at the end of it, but it's
How would somebody go about finding you on eBay? Would they go to your SGTStarbooks.com and then go that way? Is there a link from your website or your Facebook? Do you have a Facebook?
You want me to give you my eBay store URL? I could do that. I got it here on one of my cards. It's sure, I'll do that right now. www.ebay.com /STR/LITTLE LOLAWANTS. That's Little Lola Wants is the name of the store. But you have to put in like that whole URL. eBay is a funny search engine. Like if you don't put in the www.ebay/STR/Little Lola Wants, you won't actually go to that page, which is why I started my own webpage, because it's easier to direct people to Sergeant Starbooks than it is to direct them to that long URL. And it's funny, like you in order to be marketable, it's good to have your own webpage, because then you are saying, you know, you could buy all of my stuff from this area, or you can link to my eBay, either one. But I also have a Facebook too. But yeah, I don't just want to promote myself. I'd like to talk about, you know, whatever your audience would be interested in as far as tech goes. I'm guessing like you're talking to the people who you're saying they don't need to go to college, and that's totally true. I agree with. Maybe. I mean, especially when it comes to tech. I mean, I would just get certified in your whatever certifications you need, and so a lot of times companies will just send you to get certified. I let a lot of time lapse in between because I went to college after the military, which to me wasn't so smart, because to tell you the truth, I just used my degree for my business. I never used it to get a job, it's kind of funny, right? You go and get a degree and I never used it to get a job, actually. I just used it for my own education purposes. Well, this is my second store. I opened the bookstore. I started it in Reno. I started the online store in Reno, Nevada, about 2018, about mid 2018. No, it was I graduated 2017. Yeah, it was 2018. And then I moved to North Carolina, opened a physical store in North Carolina for about a year because I have family out there. And I wanted a physical store also because my online sales were picking up when I started. And I was like, well, if I'm doing this good online, where I was kind of starting to pay my bills online, I was like, I can open a physical store. And it actually, you know, I always learned by trial and error. So that first store was a lot of trial and error. You know, I was in the middle of kind of in the middle of the country. Really, I always say in the middle of nowhere. Not, you know, being hard on anyone who lives in the country. Like I like living there. It was fun place to live, but not the best place for a bookstore. You know, I didn't get a lot of in-store traffic, and my online sales were better than my store sales. So I moved to, you know, just long story short, I moved to Richmond, Virginia. Was my last move. I've been here for almost a year, and yes, my next move in about 2 months. I'm buying a home, actually, Gary. I'm buying a home in Texas, and I'm going to go out there and kind of settle down, because one of the things, these last couple businesses, I've always just been a solopreneur. So I have a store house, like I have a store. It's like a store apartment. I live in my store, like in the back. If you just like, you know, you're on Facebook, you type in Starbooks on the top, and you'll see my bookstore comes up. It says Starbooks bookstore with like 2 little dollar signs by it, whatever. So yeah, you could just search Starbooks and you'll find me, and you click on it and you should be able to see some inventory. or you can message me personally, and I could direct you to my eBay account. Either way.
So Brandon, how can people reach you? How can they find out what you're doing? Can you tell your website and your URL again?
Yeah, okay, I'll do the whole thing. Okay, yeah, so if you search, my physical store is SGTStarbooks, and that's located in Richmond, Virginia. On Facebook, if you type in the search and you just type in Starbooks, one word, capital STAR, capital BOOKS, and then you should see my store will pop up. And I have some inventory on there. If you message me on Facebook, I could direct you to my eBay store. And with eBay, you have to type in the whole URL, so it's a little more. It takes more keystrokes to direct people there. But I'll give you my whole eBay URL right now. It's www.ebay.com/STR/Little Lola Wants, all one word. So it's LittleLoLawants. And that's my eBay URL. If you type that in, you'll get to my eBay. And then my web page is just SGTStarbooks.com, and it's SGTStarbooks. So SGTStarbooks, not Starbucks, but Starbooks, like all one word. So those are all my internet locations there.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for coming on the podcast.